Before I tell you this story, I want you to understand something important. Stalkers don't always look like the people you see in movies. They don't always hide in shadows or follow you in dark alleys. Sometimes they sit right next to you. They smile, they bake cupcakes, they ask about your weekend. Sometimes the most dangerous person in your life is the one everyone else calls sweet. I learned that the hard way. This happened 2 years ago, when I started a new job at a marketing firm. It was nothing special, a normal 9-to-5 office, watery coffee, birthday emails, harmless small talk in the hallways. I wasn't very social back then. I had just come out of a breakup, moved into a new apartment, and I was focused on rebuilding a quiet, stable life. Go to work, come home, cook something simple, sleep, repeat. Then I met Melissa. At first glance, she was the last person you'd ever suspect of anything. Soft-spoken, always neatly dressed in pastel cardigans. Someone who brought homemade cookies to meetings and remembered everyone's coffee order. On my first day, she made me a handwritten welcome card with tiny silver stars around my name. It felt unusually warm, but harmless. A week later, I walked into the office and found a coffee waiting on my desk. My exact order. Iced, light sugar, extra foam. I had never told anyone how I liked my coffee. When I asked around, she raised her hand and said, "You looked tired yesterday. I thought this might help." I thanked her, but something about the precision made me uneasy. Most people would have taken it as kindness. I tried to tell myself that too, but my brain filed it away. That's when she started appearing everywhere. If I went to the break room, she walked in seconds later. If I stayed late at work, she stayed too, even when her tasks were done. If I left at 5 p.m., she left at 5:01. It wasn't enough to accuse her of anything. It was just patterns. Patterns that shouldn't exist. Then came the questions. Not friendly, casual coworker questions. Questions that felt like she was collecting information. What time do you usually fall asleep? Do you still have that blue sweater you wore last Thursday? Is it scary living alone on the 3rd floor? I froze when she said that. I had never told her what floor I lived on. I never told her my building. When I asked how she knew, she just laughed and said, "Oh, I must have seen it on something." But she said it too quickly, like she'd practiced the line. Things escalated when my keycard stopped working one morning. Security checked the system and said, "You already entered the building earlier today." I hadn't. They checked the cameras. Someone had signed in as me. It was Melissa. When they questioned her, she acted confused and said, "I didn't want her to get in trouble for being late." I wasn't late. I wasn't even inside yet. HR made her apologize, but she cried and said she was just trying to help. They let it go. No one sees a quiet, gentle woman as a threat, but I did. A month later, something happened that still makes my chest tighten. I came home one evening, turned on the lights, and instantly smelled vanilla cupcakes. My entire apartment smelled like them. On my kitchen counter was a Tupperware box filled with perfectly frosted cupcakes. No note, no text, just the cupcakes. My door was locked. My windows were locked. There was no sign of forced entry. Someone had been inside my home. I threw the cupcakes out immediately. My hands were shaking so hard, I almost dropped the container. The next morning at work, Melissa walked up to me quietly and asked, "Did you like them?" My stomach dropped. I asked, "How did you get into my apartment?" Her face crumpled like she was the one being hurt. "I just wanted to surprise you." That night, I blocked her number. But blocking someone doesn't stop them from existing in your physical space. After that, she didn't get angry. She got present. Intensely present. If I walked outside work, she stood across the street watching. If I went to the grocery store, she appeared in the same aisle minutes later. If I walked home, she followed half a block behind. One evening, as I was unlocking my apartment door, I heard her whisper behind me, "You're shutting me out again." I don't remember how fast I slammed the door, only the sound of the lock clicking twice. I told HR again. They brushed it off again. Maybe you're misunderstanding her friendliness. Friendliness does not involve entering someone's home at night. And then came the night I will never forget. It was just after 1 a.m. I woke up to the sound of floorboards creaking in the hallway outside my bedroom. I held my breath, listening. And then I heard it. Breathing. Someone else's breathing. Slow. Close. Wrong. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. The operator told me to stay quiet and stay hidden. I crouched behind my bed, heart pounding so loudly I thought whoever was out there would hear it through the walls. When the police arrived, they found Melissa in my hallway. She was holding one of my picture frames, not stealing it, not breaking it, wiping it clean, like she was removing fingerprints. Her explanation to the police was, "I thought someone else had broken in. I was protecting her." They arrested her for trespassing and stalking. I got an emergency restraining order. She was fired. Security finally took me seriously, but trauma doesn't disappear just because the stalker is gone. For months, I slept with a chair under my bedroom door. Every unexpected sound made me sit up in bed. Every knock made my chest tighten. I kept checking windows, double-locking my door, jumping at noises from neighbors. People think danger is loud, but sometimes danger is quiet. Sometimes it bakes cupcakes. Sometimes it remembers your schedule better than you do. Sometimes it smiles while memorizing every detail of your life. Sometimes the person everyone sees as sweet is the one you should be terrified of. I survived it because I finally trusted the voice in my head that whispered, "This isn't normal." If something feels wrong, even if it looks harmless, trust yourself. Don't wait until it becomes impossible to ignore. Don't wait until it becomes something you can't walk away from. And to Melissa, wherever she is now, let's not meet again.